Hi, this is TJR, and the following is a rebroadcast of the latest episode of Music Worth Buying. Music Worth Buying is the weekly web series where each week myself and Robert Kinsler, music writer for the Orange County Register, get together and recommend albums that we think you should check out. If you like this show, please go to our YouTube channel, which you'll find a link for here, and also under more info here on this video. And please subscribe to Music Worth Buying. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy the show. This week on Music Worth Buying, we're going to be discussing Ouroboros by Ray Lamontagne
and George Fest, the music of George Harrison.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Music Worth Buying. My name is TJR. I'm a musician and a music writer.
And my name is Robert Kinsler, and I'm a music writer and a musician.
There we go. So, with those little formalities out of the way, we both have albums that we are excited to talk about here. And I'm going to talk about, and hopefully I say the title right, Ouroboros. Hopefully I've said it right. Sorry I didn't have time to really...
It sounds good to me.
Yeah, hopefully it works. This is the latest album by Ray Lamontagne. Ray Lamontagne, I've been familiar with who he is. Haven't really gotten my teeth into his music. Haven't really heard anything that's made me go, oh, I've got to hear more. I just decided on a whim, let's just listen to this. Let's just start listening and see what we think. That's what I do a lot. I go online to Spotify. I say, well, let's listen to a little bit of this. Let's see what this is like. Listen to a little bit of this. See what this is like. You know, this stuck out, and it stuck out for me big time. Although I tried to not like it.
Really?
Yeah, I actually tried to not like it for a bit because I kept thinking, man, this reminds me of Pink Floyd. This really reminds me of Pink Floyd, like during their height, the era of their height of their music prowess. You know, during the days of Dark Side of the Moon, during the days of, you know, Wish You Were Here. And you know, speaking of Pink Floyd, you know, it's every single track. It's divided up into part 1 and part 2. So if you have it on vinyl, it is going to be separated in that way. And Ray Lamontagne said in interviews that he did record the album with the idea, with the vinyl coming before the CD, that thinking of it in terms of a vinyl release, since that's the way he prefers to hear it.
Interesting.
As a vinyl release, and then it's just going to have to be put together on CD. You know, but he did think of it in 2 acts. And he also thought of it as it is, and like Pink Floyd, like when you think of some of those great albums like Animals, you know, and Dark Side of the Moon, basically the tracks just slide into each other.
They do. And
it is a complete listening album experience where, you know, if you're not sitting there looking at your phone or your player, seeing what tracks up, it's just one long, continuous, you know, cycle of songs as the songs just blend into each other. And I kept thinking, man, this just reminds me of Floyd at their height. And for a certain extent, I just kind of wanted to like reject it for that reason, because I think, oh well, you know, Floyd's already done this, you know. But the more I listened to it, the more I fell in love with it, and not because oh, that reminds me of this track by Pink Floyd, that reminds me of that track by Pink Floyd. That was one of my major criticisms with Momentary Lapse of Reason, because it really felt like, oh, this reminds me of that horn section from Money, and that part reminds me of that part from Welcome to the Machine. It just felt like they were deliberately, once Roger Waters was gone, it felt like they made an album that just kind of deliberately played on your nostalgia by having too many things that sounded like too many other songs, by and large. And not a terrible album, still liked it, but I knew I was kind of being manipulated to a certain extent. This, I don't feel like I'm being manipulated. I think maybe I just kind of wanted to resist it for that reason. But the more I've heard this, the more I've just legitimately fallen in love with it. The album is, the 2 sides, side 1 or part 1 is heavier, more bluesier. Part 2 is much more mellow. So let's listen to a track from part 1, which is, I think, the single, the proposed single, called No Pressure. Here we go.
I want to lift you when you fall. And no pressure, and no pressure. Anything you want your life to mean, it can mean anything you want
that is, just for the record too, we want to say that's called Hey No Pressure,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah,
that's right.
so-
We don't want to piss off all the trolls out
Yeah.
there who, hey man, it's called Hey No Pressure, not No Pressure.
Yeah.
Guy.
I know.
Anyways,
well,
yeah.
now that
Trolls.
we've corrected that, you know.
Yeah.
But no, I do like it. This is my first time hearing it, so I feel like I want to hear it more and stuff. A cool groove and all the things that you were saying in the setup, I think those kind of ring true with what I heard of the song here.
Yeah. And on this album are a lot of players from My Morning Jacket. And I definitely can hear that. I know we covered My Morning Jacket's last album on the show, which was a real favorite of both of ours for last year.
Amazing, yeah, really phenomenal.
Yeah. And you can feel that vibe.
Yeah.
But there's also something else because, you know, this is Ray Lamontagne, these are his songs, this is what he's written. And he says that the songwriting just kind of came to him in like these huge inspirational spurts on this album. And he just was trying to get it all out as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And yeah, there is like a real sense of immediacy and spontaneity to it. When I listen to it, it feels really kind of just immediate when you hear it. Now, packaging-wise, this comes in a mini vinyl gatefold, and here you have front and back. Here you have interior, and yeah, once again, even interior back, it just all of this reminds me of Pink Floyd. Reminds me a little bit of Dark Side of the Moon. Well, I mean, the cover of Dark Side of the Moon was different, but we've got the moon here being eclipsed, you know, and it's like, that's part of the reason why I tried to reject this at first. I thought, oh man, even down to the cover, he's trying to invoke Dark Side of the Moon here. You know, what's this?
It won you over anyway.
He won me over anyways. I'm surprised, you know, I'm surprised he kind of went with this, but you know, at the end of the day, the cover is preceded by the music. And just like I've always said, Magical Mystery Tour, got to be one of the lamest covers I've ever seen, but
boy, the
album's just way too good to care. And so inside is not a booklet, but there is what we call a fold-out poster on one side. Fold-out poster on one side. And then on the opposite side is the lyrics in a ball, in a circle, in a disco ball.
Okay.
No, but all the lyrics, you know, you have to kind of read like this. And, but yeah. So, you know, artistic.
So you're telling me I'm going to get dizzy reading the lyrics?
Yeah, well, no, you don't have to do this, but yeah, but it is kind of, yeah, you have to like, okay,
yeah, no, I got you.
But, yeah, anyways, or don't read the lyrics, I don't know, whichever you prefer. But, so yeah, and so that's from side one, which is more fuzzy electric, you know, I don't want to say like, you know, hard rock, but more fuzzy electric, blues, spacey, psychedelic, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Now we will play a track from part two, or side two, depending on what your format is. And this is the much more mellower section. And this is actually a totally instrumental track called The Maturation of Starlings. And here we go. That is A Maturation of Starlings, which, well, before I say anything, was there anything you wanted to say?
Not really, just my first listen. It very much conjures up Pink Floyd back in the day. I mean,
it sounds like it could have come off of Wish You Were Here.
Yeah, it puts you in that same place, you know, kind of that, you know, kind of like transparent, you know, just like contemplative and everything, and you know.
This track is probably the most, if I had to say, blatant in how much it evokes Pink Floyd during that time period. And probably the most blatant of them. As I listened to the album more, I began to realize it's not as the album is not as blatant as I may have first thought. It's more original than I thought it was, and that's why I really began to champion the album. But this track probably the most blatant. But even then, I love listening to this track. I mean, I really love listening to it and just sitting there quietly and hearing it.
Yeah, I could see
as
that.
It just rolls over me.
Yeah, exactly.
But you could have titled this, you know, tribute to Floyd. You could have titled this, you know, tribute to the guitar. You could have titled, you know, tribute the guitar's playing, tribute to David Gilmour. You know, but either way, it's a great track, and it's just, you know, a really great album. And you know, like I said, was not real familiar with Ray LaMontagne, but you know, after this, I'm curious to go hear some of the back catalog.
Oh, very great.
Yeah. So tell us what you have here.
Well, actually, I brought a tribute to George Harrison, And this is called, I'm going to try not to butcher it, it is called A Night to Celebrate, George Fest, the music of George Harrison. Now this was recorded live at the Fonda Theater in Southern California. It's actually in Hollywood, back in September of 2014. A big list of musicians got together from different generations. I don't know if it was organized by Danny Harrison, his son, but it sure seems like it was. He's on stage for much of the concert and the recordings. He sings some of the songs. But I mean, this is a really wide-ranging list of musicians that gathered, you know, everybody from Ann Wilson of Heart to Weird Al Yankovic. So I mean, it runs the gamut, and then some younger musicians too. But what I thought I'd do is, before we talk a little bit about this collection, I want to feature a little bit of I Me Mine, and this is sung by, make sure I have everybody's names right, by Brett Daniel of Spoon, and we'll listen to a little bit of that one here and then talk more about this collection.
All right, cool.
Now they're frightened of believing it, everyone's sweeping it, coming on stronger all the time. All through the day, I've been mine. I'll be me mine. I'll be me mine.
Of course, I know that song really well. Now I'm going to tell you something here. What I'm about to say does not reflect on this recording or this track or anybody's talents. I think everybody's playing on this is very good. When this album was released, I did give it a listen, which, you know, like I said, I did. So, well, let's check out this. And naturally, of course, I'm curious to know what this is. You know, George Harrison, you know, the Beatles. Obviously, I want to know.
Yeah.
And I feel like, okay, it's a tribute concert, and I listened to it, and I just wasn't into it. I'll be honest, I was not into it at all. You know, not that anybody was playing badly. Everybody's playing fine. Everybody sounds, you know, is doing good. But to me, it wasn't doing that much for me. And to me, this was already done with the Concert for George, which I really enjoyed a lot. I watched the movie. I enjoyed the soundtrack. I still enjoy the soundtrack to the movie.
Very good,
I really enjoyed those concert performances. But this did very little for me. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with the recording. There's nothing wrong with the performance. It just wasn't really, the album wasn't
You felt like it had already been done.
kind of like it had already been done. Yeah.
I thought with this, you know, and it depends on the strength, obviously, of the performers. There's some I mean, somebody like Conan O'Brien. Not to pick on him. There's nothing wrong. He gives it his all. It's not as strong as like what we just heard here with you know, Brett Daniels and stuff. But I did like how they delved a little bit more into his catalog a little bit, and also maybe because I first saw the documentary film, I first saw the film performance, and maybe because that draws you in a little bit more because you have the visual elements and you see kind of the warmth and you see the interviews with the performers and how they really thought it was important to celebrate George's life. And some of these performers obviously didn't perform at Concert for George and stuff. That might have been part of it. But I found myself, like I said, the majority of the performances I really liked, and I liked the spirit of the performance. This collection comes with the version I have has a DVD, so you have the concert film, and then you have the two audio CDs that have the audio. So because I probably threw myself into the concert first, maybe that's why we had different experiences. But regardless, you know, I'd say I you know, definitely can highly recommend some of the performances on here.
Okay, so what track would you recommend next for like the cold-hearted cynicus such as, like me?
For you, I'm going to handle you with care, courtesy of a bunch of artists that were involved in George Fest, and let's listen to a little bit of that one.
Pun intended. No, I'm sorry. What's the track again?
Handle with Care.
Oh, it is Handle with Care. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thought you were just okay.
Okay, we better listen in before we start laughing too much or something.
Yeah, I know. Here we go.
Oh, baby, you're adorable, and to be with care.
I'm so tired of being lonely. I still have some love to give. Won't you show me that you really care?
And that's a little bit of Handle with Care, and I'll name some of the names on here. Brett Daniel, Brandon Flowers, Danny Harrison, who sounds a lot like his dad. I don't think we got into that. And he does a couple of Jonathan Bates, and actually Weird Al even sings on that one too. So it's all over. But I like the spirit of it. You know, most of the arrangements on here are pretty faithful to the to the original recordings, whether it was like this one with the Traveling Wilburys or the Beatles or his solo work. And some people might see that as a negative. You know, they're basically just honoring George Harrison's you know, arrangements. But I found there seemed to be a real good spirit among these musicians. Like they really did want to pay tribute to you know, a member of the Beatles that was sadly often overlooked. I think through history people have say, hey, he's not overlooked. I think he is. I sometimes hear people say, hey, he's my favorite Beatle and stuff. But I think that this goes a long way to recognizing, you know, he was such a great songwriter and you know, had an impact on the music world and everything like that.
I've never understood the whole favorite Beatle thing. To me, you know, it was just something about them collectively.
And we both agree on that. When I hear people, you know, talk about it's like, what made the Beatles unique was the four of them. You know, the four voices, the four, you know, I'm with you. You know. And this does go into, I was going to say primarily it's his Beatles catalog here, but of course you're going to hear like My Sweet Lord and some of his, you know, and you're going to hear this from the Traveling Wilburys.
Which we heard on the Concert for George soundtrack as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, I mean, they're all playing fine. Some of the vocals during the Roy Orbison segments were not so fine, in my opinion. I'm not sure who was that singing there. There should have been some decision made to say, you know, change the way you're singing that, because you're not matching what Roy Orbison did, especially since you are trying to be faithful. But I would have I had someone change how they sing it there, do something different, because it wasn't working during that first section. Now Donnie Harrison does sound a lot like his dad. I don't think I've ever heard him sing lead vocal or anything prior to this.
Yeah, I'm actually not. I know he has played with some other groups. I've not heard his lead vocals, but I found good. And there are a couple songs that he's featured throughout the entire song on lead, and he does a really good job.
Yeah, I know.
And I know, as he said in one of the interviews in the film, he wanted to pick out songs that were not very well known to shed a little bit deeper light on his father beyond, you know, Something and Here Comes the Sun and stuff like that. And they do cover some of those real big hits that George had, but they obviously delve a little bit more into his catalog and do some rare gems too.
I'm curious, has Donnie Harrison ever released any like solo stuff on his own that's just like his own music or something, or is,
you know, I don't know a lot. I mean, nothing that, you know,
I've never heard of anything.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, as a lot of viewers will know, I'm a music writer and I get a lot of music.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's you know,
and
like
we've covered Julian Lennon, Sean Lennon, James McCartney. You know, we've covered.
Everybody knows Zach Starkey is a great drummer and everything too. So
well, we've covered their solo releases and talked about them, and we're familiar with what they've done. But I've never heard anything from Donnie Harrison. You know, maybe he's not going to. Who knows? Maybe that's not where he wants.
Well, I know
to go.
He has played with people.
Other bands
and stuff.
Yeah,
I just am not that familiar with their music. But maybe this is a good reason. Now this whole discussion, maybe I should be. So
yeah, we should. I don't know if he's. Yeah, I don't think he has. But you know, some decision should have been made to change that part, the Roy Orbison parts, because it's not doing it justice. If you're going to, if you're trying to just be faithful to the arrangement, it's not doing it justice. Otherwise, everything's fine. You know, you know, I listened to it. I'm kind of like. And I shouldn't maybe say, didn't say didn't like it, just not into it. You know, I wasn't really, like I said, I felt like, well, I've already heard this already with the Concert for George. And maybe, and once again, though, Concert for George, I mean, I even liked the instrumental, the 20-minute instrumental section with Ravi Shankar. You know, the Indian musician. I even liked that. The original instrumental piece of Indian music. And, but then again, I did watch the concert first. And of course, then getting the soundtrack on CD was just, you know, came after the fact.
Then it kind of cements it after you.
So maybe that's partly why. But I think part of it is just that I feel like I've heard it before. But then you watched the Concert for George.
Yes, I did. Yeah, and I love the Concert for George.
I
saw
too.
This was different, and I thought that maybe because there were so many different people on this one, I thought maybe that was it. You know, but again. Being a big fan of George Harrison's music, it's great almost too. You got to say, hey, it's great that these other people are going to explore his work. You know, and maybe mine it. Maybe they get something new out of it, or share something differently with it.
I think what it comes down to is that basically my soul is dark, you know, and black, and that I have no real humanity. I think that's what it comes down to.
That must be it.
Yeah. I just, I've just been putting y'all on for years.
I think all the viewers are gonna opine on that one. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
But anyways, no, I'm glad you enjoyed it though.
Yeah.
And
I did actually. I've watched the concert twice, and then I've been playing some of the audio tracks and stuff. And like as any kind of ambitious collection like this with so many different artists from different genres and different stuff, you're going to have ones that you like more than other ones.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely true across the board with all, whether it's Live Aid or whatever it might be. And I'd say that's the case here, but I think there's enough really good performances to recommend it. And I think the concert is one where you're going to watch it start to finish, and if nothing else, you're going to be just curious, like, hey, what's going to come up, or how's that artist going to do that song, and how's it going to sound. So I think it's like you said, it's probably worth exploring especially if you're a fan of George Harrison.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of George Harrison and the Beatles, but yeah. But anyways, there's nothing else I need to say.
Yeah.
And maybe on a different day.
You said it all.
Yeah. I know. I'm an evil person.
No.
So anyways, though, but we want to thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And till next time, my name is TJR. And you can check out my music at tjrmusic.com, my website. Also, my YouTube channel is youtube.com/TJR the original, which was the stupidest name I could have ever thought of, and there's a story behind that, but someday I'll let that out. I regret that, but oh well, what can I do? I don't want to start over. But anyways, though, my channel, you can watch music performances from me and also hear me talk about stuff endlessly ad infinitum until you're bored out of your chair. Now, a lot of people have told me they like my commentaries about music and art and such, but I think my mother is one of them.
Yeah,
but
I like them too, for what it's worth.
Anyway, but no, you check out my channel, and of course, sir.
And my name's Robert Kinsler, and you can read my work at, of course, right here at musicworthbuying.com, at ocregister.com, desertstarweekly.com, and musicnewsnashville.com.
Right on. And thank you so much for watching, folks. We'll catch you later.
See you later, everybody.
Keep listening. Bye.